Josh McDaniels making the decision to bench Derek Carr seems to have started a little bit of controversy out in Vegas. And now we've got the question on the table, as Davante Adams has said that he's going to ride with his dog on this one. Could Davante Adams be returning to the NFC North and to a very, very familiar opponent in the Chicago Bears? Let's talk about all that and more, starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us. And of course, make sure that you let me know how you guys are feeling in the comments below. Do you think there's a possibility that Davante Adams comes to the Chicago Bears? And listen, right, I know, again, Bears fans dreaming about another big name wide receiver coming into the building, right? We know that this is not how the Bears operate. It's not how they move. But there's a couple of things at play here that might make it a possibility. I'm not saying it's a certainty. I'm saying a possibility, right? The first thing is the fact that now with you benching Derek Carr, you've all but said, we don't believe in you and we're not going to keep you around. And, or at least, right, like there's this decision where it's going to be between the coach and the quarterback at the end of the day. And something's going to have to be worked out. And to be honest with you, right, I don't know what decision Vegas is going to make on this, because to me, right, the quarterback worked before Josh McDaniels got there. I don't think he's a very good head coach. I've never thought he was a very good head coach. I think that's more the reason why they're losing. But Vegas might say, yeah, but we've never won with Derek Carr more than, has he won a round in the playoffs? Maybe one round in the playoffs? He has won a round in the playoffs. So maybe one round in the playoffs, right? Like, we've never gone far with Derek Carr. Maybe it's time to start anew, and that's why this benching is acceptable now. So, which, I mean, listen. They sit at the 9th pick in the draft. There's a lot of things that they can do. And so because of that, they might be looking to trade up to try and get one of the quarterbacks that are going to be in this draft. Maybe you start all the way new. You don't go out and find you a veteran guy. Maybe you go start all the way new. You go out there and find you a young guy, a CJ Stroud. Maybe if the Bears end up with the first pick in the draft, right, a Bryce Young in that situation, right? Like, maybe those are the teams that you're talking to right now, trying to figure out how you're going to move up to go get a young quarterback. And I think that's the situation that opens up the opportunity for Davante Adams to possibly be out of Vegas, because the whole reason Davante Adams came to Vegas was to be with his college teammate, Derek Carr. The whole reason he came to Vegas was to win with his boy, Derek Carr. It's what he wanted to do. And that has not been the case out in Vegas since they've gotten out there, right? Vegas has been a pretty terrible team this entire season, right? I mean, they've basically just been inconsistent. They've won just enough games to move them further down in the draft and just make things a lot harder on themselves moving forward, right? And there seems to be no cohesiveness offensively, defensively on either line, right? There's a lot of issues going on there. But so they hold the 9th pick in the draft. And we brought out the other video where talked about trading the 2nd pick for with Cincinnati for T. Higgins, a couple of picks. I think it was 3 picks from Cincinnati in that situation, right? And a lot of you guys didn't like that trade. I thought it was an okay trade. I think 23-year-old T. Higgins, really nice player, could develop into something big moving forward here. But on the flip side of that, if there's an opportunity to stay in the top 10 in the draft and you can go out there and get a number 1 wide receiver, so basically what the trade would be in this situation, the 2nd pick for Davante Adams and the number 9 pick overall. Maybe you throw in a little bit of extra capital, 9th or a 3rd round pick in the future or something like that, right? But to make it, I mean, I think you could pretty much set your price on that 2nd pick. But now there's more teams opening up that are saying, hey, we don't really want to move up in the draft. We want to go out there and get a big name quarterback who already can play. And Derek Carr is going to be available. So that's going to be one team that's possibly taken out of the market. But you know Vegas is going to want to bet on a young guy. I think that, right, like Detroit might even be an opportunity for Derek Carr to go to, right, which is a tough situation because he would come to the NFC North and be a really good quarterback. I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I just think that he's not, right, like how P-Kid has hyped him up. And so, right, that might be an opportunity where Detroit's now out of the quarterback market because they want to go with the proven guy with the team that they currently have. You've got some winning pieces in place. You add your quarterback in. That's the recipe that the Rams did, worked for them. So in that situation, right, a couple of the teams, you have to think at least one of those teams that probably is going to try to move up for that pick is going to be out of that situation. So now the Bears should be looking at the Raiders as a possible opportunity to make a move here. And I would love it, right? I would love it. You get Davante Adams in the building with Justin Fields, Chase Claypool coming in as your number 2. You still got Darnell Mooney in the building, probably hopefully able to bring him or keep him here on a little bit of a lower contract. And to be honest with you, right, put him in a position that he would be best in, operating a little bit more in the slot, maybe in that situation, right? And he's got the good hands, got the good footwork. I would love to see him there. I think that it would line up really well for the Bears. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you think the Bears should be out on Davante Adams? Should they be trying to acquire Davante Adams? Do you think that the Raiders would do the deal? Let me know in the comments. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Now, here's the thing, right? The tough part is, right, does Davante Adams really want to come back to Chicago? And that's the part that you have to assess. And does he want to be here for the long term as Justin Fields continues to grow? That's the part that I think is the most important thing to assess before you even go into making a deal like this. But I think that, right, there's a little bit of a connection there with Luke Getsy. We know that him and Getsy have that relationship already built up from their time in Green Bay. So he already comes in. He already knows the system. You're basically jump-starting this thing right away and saying, hey, we're not going out there and getting a Chase Claypool that's got to learn the system for half the season and has had some injury issues, and you're going to have to try and figure out how to get him in here, right? Or how to work him into the offense. You're going out there and you're getting a guy that you can plug in play one, day one, and say, okay, these are the routes we want to run. Can you do it? These are the routes we want you to go out there to do. Can you do it? And I like the move because, right, you're able to go out there and you still have that 9th pick, which I think is a really good pick for the Bears to be at, because you still have some opportunity, maybe not at the top edge rushers in the game or the top nose tackle in the game, right? But I think that you have an opportunity to still go out there and get a really, really good offensive lineman in that situation. Maybe that's a situation where you can fix your offense in the first round, right? And then maybe you focus on, like, there's still some really good edge rushers that'll be there later on in this draft. Maybe not to that same level of dominance, right? Definitely not a Jalen Carter you're going to find down there, but still able to find some really good guys that should be able to cause you some pressure, be able to give you instant success, right? You just got to be able to identify that talent, and hopefully, right, that's going to be right. That's going to be where we look at Ryan Poles the most. But at a minimum, I think there's a couple of things you want to do with this deal. I don't want to go out there and I've said I don't want rookies protecting Justin Fields next year. But you get him a number 1 weapon. You get him a guy that you know is going to be able to bring the ball in, going to be able to go up and get it, going to be able to run this scheme, going to be able to put Justin Fields in really good positions, and is going to be able to do that while allowing Justin Fields the opportunity to grow, right, and just giving him that go-to weapon that he has to have. I think that it also improves the rest of your offense in the situation where now Chase Claypool gets to learn from a guy like Davante Adams, and now he's able to up his game a little bit. Right now, you're opened up a little bit more. You don't have to be that number 1 guy. Now, Darnell Mooney, again, opening him up more, able to be the player that he was before this season. And Cole Kmet, right? Like, listen, Cole Kmet's just being big in the middle and doing some really good things, catching the ball and finding himself open. But when you have Davante Adams on your team, so much of that focus goes to him. And there's so many of the times where Davante Adams is able to cover up a lot of the mistakes that maybe Justin Fields will make, right? Like, he's still going to be a guy that's going to make some mistakes in this whole thing, and maybe, right, the throw's a little bit offline, or it's a little bit underthrown, or he puts it up towards the end zone and maybe he overthrows a little bit. Davante Adams has been able to cover up a ton of mistakes for a lot of quarterbacks that he's played with over his career, right? I mean, it's really just Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr, but he's been able to cover up those mistakes, and I think that that's something that if you're looking to pair somebody up with Justin Fields, that's the move that you go make. And on top of that, guys, here's the thing, still a ton of money. Still have a ton of money. There's so much money for us to spend next year. Now, of course, you got to pay Davante Adams. That eats into the money a little bit, right? But $150 million, we've still got a bunch of money that we can throw at guys. I would love to see the Bears make this move. I think this is a really good move for us if we can actually get it done. I think the Raiders actually would be interested in this move as well, right? Like, I felt like the one thing for me with the with the T. Higgins trade, even though you guys didn't like it for the most part because of you didn't think T. Higgins was at that value. And for me, right, like a proven wide receiver has gone second overall. Like we can't act like we haven't seen top wide receivers go second overall. T. Higgins is an amazing athlete. He's a dominant athlete. He's played really well. And you drop, the thing is as well, though, you do drop back to the 28th pick in the draft in that situation, but you end up with more capital on top of it. The one thing about this trade is that, yeah, you move back to the 9th pick in the draft, you get Davante Adams, you've still got an opportunity at the top 10 pick, you've still got your full slate of picks in that situation, you've still got your opportunity with your cash in the offseason, right? There's still a ton more you can do, and you're getting a better player. So if the Raiders are willing to make that deal, I would 215% make that deal. I want to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Would you make the trade with the Raiders for Davante Adams to pair him up with Justin Fields? How do you think that would affect the Bears moving forward? I'll be down in the comments talking with you guys. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.